Hi coaches, Ron Silico here. What I want to talk about in this video presentation today is youth basketball team offense. And this is something that I stumbled upon this past basketball season coaching 9-year-olds and 10-year-olds. We might have had some 8-year-olds in there. People that are just getting involved in basketball. And one of the offenses that we put in, we had a basic set which had a lot of ball screening, and certainly you could do that in this situation I'm about to show you as well. But we put this in at the end, and actually in our championship game, we started running this and got a lot of good shots right off the first set of screens, some dribble penetration, when our ball screen offense wasn't working as well as we had hoped. I came across this offense reading about what John Chaney used to do at Temple, and then there's some great YouTube videos from the late 80s and 90s with Temple that you could find looking at this type of offense. And John Chaney used this as part of his mantra of no turnovers. And it's a really fascinating offense as you get more and more layers to it. You can run it against a man or a zone. At the youth level, we're playing against man-to-man defense. But we're trying to teach the concepts of screening and cutting and moving without the ball. And trying to get kids to pass off the dribble is an extremely hard skill for kids to learn. I was talking to a parent. It's very similar to trying to teach kids in soccer to pass off the dribble because the dribbling skill, whether in basketball or soccer, you can learn that pretty easily and then get more sophisticated with it. But learning to pass off the dribble, have your head up, see the defense, it's an extremely hard thing to do. But running this offense gave us a great first pass opportunity because often at the youth level, younger ages especially, kids are learning how to get open without the ball, and defense dominates these games. But if in using this offense, the double stack offense, we were able to create scenarios where that first pass was inevitably open because kids at that level weren't used to fighting through screens, and we were able to get that first pass. And once you get that first pass, I believe in any team offense, especially at the lower levels, it makes the second pass, the third pass easier as well as other opportunities opening up. So this is the double stack offense. And I was initially concerned about because in teaching motion offense at various levels of basketball, we've always tried to operate above the block. And you can certainly do that in this scenario as well, but I think stacks are a great way to learn for kids to get open and learn how to set screens. And basically the kind of defenses we were facing were playing just like that. So that made screens in very easy. Kids could pop out depending on what side of the floor the dribbler took. It really created good situations for a first pass. The other advantage of having it so close to the baseline rather than out on the floor space a little bit is 8, 9, 10-year-olds, they don't have a lot of range as shooters, even though it's a smaller ball, smaller size basket in terms of height. This creates a situation where they're open in shooting range. And in fact, we got some shots right off that screen, catch, square, and shoot. It's teaching kids to learn how to screen, it's learn how to cut, and learn how to read the defense. So I just listed a few scenarios that could happen here. And certainly there's more as you could build up. You can look to dump into the post. You can have ball screen action off of it. But I think these are just some basic sets that you can teach and maybe just do a couple layers at a time. And then as the sophistication grows, and if you have more practice time and more game time, you can work on these things. we were in a situation where we only practiced once a week and then had a game once a week. So we focus primarily on these first two scenarios. So the first one is up, where you're just coming up the lane off that down screen. And after that first pass, we could either have the post player pin or come out and set a ball screen. Ball screens really work well at the youth level, so that was often what we did. But there were times where that pass inside was open, or we had a first shot at the basket, or a drive to the basket. These 2 and 3 man players that we had were generally players that had some dribbling skill. So once they got the first pass, if they could see a lane, they could drive to the basket. So that was the up one, and then we would teach the guard here after the pass to go screen away. So trying to keep the 3 guards out on the perimeter. Second scenario is out. So when I was watching some of the old Temple footage, when they played Duke, I think in 1988 NCAA tournament, Duke would float the guard defender out top here, and then the post defender was here. Like so. So what the counter to that with Temple was they would screen and the guards would go out. They would pop out to the baseline rather than popping up the lane, because that was taken away. Another common move I saw was they would pop up and then pop out off the defense when they got up there that way. So those were 2 things that you could do to counteract that defense that has the top defender being a guard, and they're trying to take away that screening action up the lane. It's also going to require probably a little better passing angle, another dribble or 2 from that point guard coming to the side. So we had that some, but I think it was just kids finding open spaces, which they're learning how to play, and that's great. It affords you the opportunities to do that. Another one that we had, we didn't get into this. I saw another team in the league do that, which is pretty good. Guard picks one side, you could have cross screens. And all it's doing is creating some movement and looking for people to pop open. The 4 player would just kind of hang in the lane, and the guard would cut all the way across. Another one that we saw work really well, this was another team in our league. They would do a diagonal cross. So just another way to create an angle to have people come up the lane or up the lane. But that was called a diagonal action. 2 other things I saw Temple do at a very high level, just to counteract this, was and when I was looking at their footage from the late 80s, Mark Macon was their featured guy. They often wanted to be the first cutter to get the basketball and make plays. So they would just slide the 4-man over, create a triple stack scenario, and Mark Macon would just come off of this. Triple screen action. And then after that, the 3 and the 4-man would relocate to the other side of the floor. So wall screen, triple screen, whatever you want to call it. It was just a scenario to try to create some action for their best player. The other thing I saw him do, instead of a triple screen, it was a double screen, where it was just coming off that. Third scenario I saw, but he would work to come off of this, and then the 3-man would come off the screen here. All right, so those are just some different scenarios out of that wall screen setup. And then the last one I saw, which is really good against overplaying defense, was just a shallow type move. So if the defense was really good at overplaying it, they took the out cut away, they took the up cut away, the guard would dribble over, and this 3-man would fake out and then just replace up top. So up, out, cross, diagonal, wall, and shallow. What I like about this is, again, it's teaching kids to get open against defense using a screen. It's teaching the screener to get good angles. And it's teaching a dribbler to find that passing scenario. Again, at the youth level, we didn't get really out past the up and the out scenario. But I could see, as years progress, teaching these different things and teaching kids how to play off of that. In our practice sessions, going 2-on-2, 3-on-3 with learning how to get open against a screener, we would often do a 2-on-2 and then just have a passer without defense, so they could pass unimpeded. But yeah, that would teach the screener and the cutter how to get open off those things. So if you're looking for an offense at the youth level, we started running this at the last couple games of the season. There's a lot of stoppages in play where it's dead ball goes out of bounds. And we started using this just as a setup to get our first pass, and this was our signal for a double stack. But you could obviously do whatever you want and call whatever you want. But if you're looking for an offense that kind of gets things closer to the basket, gets some screening action in play at the youth basketball level, obviously I've mentioned that John Chaney used it at Temple. It's got great application at higher levels as well. But I'd encourage you to take a look at the double stack offense just as a way to get that first pass open and kids learning how to move without the basketball, get that first pass completion, and then start breaking down the defense from there. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.